you?
I don't know. I taught my first voice lessons in 6 weeks because all my students took some time off. So that's nice.
Oh, that's
Got a cute little break. But I got some of them back today, and they're like, hey, I have an audition due on Thursday, and I found out this morning. Haha. And I went, great. So we're going to do that today.
Of course. Of course.
But
it's that time of year.
yeah. Oh, my gosh. But I think she's in 4th grade, and she's auditioning for a 5-year-old. And I went, oh, okay. Here's how to make annoying sounds.
5-year-olds. Okay.
I hope she gets it because she'd be good at it. But I was just like, oh, God, I hate this sound. Just like making it myself.
I can only imagine you with a kid doing like music for kindergarten, the music. It's like your worst nightmare.
That's all I got. How are you? What's up with you?
I'm okay. I'm tired today, man.
How comes the kitchen saga?
Oh, it's good. It's good. The countertops look great. Very excited. We haven't hooked up plumbing.
Gross.
So I need to make a Home Depot trip and hook up the plumbing so I have a real kitchen, and then on to painting and backsplashing. But the painting will come. The backsplashing is going to have to wait because I cannot do another freaking project or I'm going to die. But it's good. It's coming along, and now it's like on us in our own time and our own journey of things instead of waiting for other people or, so it's good. It's really pretty. Oh, I didn't take you a picture. I'll take a picture and we can post it.
I like how you said that, and I still haven't posted the other episode that comes out with. That comes out this Thursday. We're recording on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, we are recording.
Also, can we just talk about the fact that we are recording 2 weeks in a row?
I know. And we're recording next week. We have a recording session next week. I know. I'm so proud of it.
I'm super excited about it. So with that, I am so excited. So I kind of deep dove a little bit into our next topic. And so we asked everyone in a poll on Instagram what you wanted to know about. And I've got a 3-part series coming up for you. So we are going to be talking all things YAPs. Last week we discussed audition tracking, but we're going to get into the meat of it as we gear up for this upcoming fall and winter audition season. I don't know about you. I did not know what a YAP was until, I think I've told you the story.
Yes.
Until it was my first year of grad school. And everyone's like, YAP this, YAP that, da-da-da-da-da. Are you applying for this one? And I'm over here going, I don't know what this is. Is it a disease? Is it like a book I need to buy? What's happening? What is a YAP? So I finally went up to one of my friends at the time and I looked at her and I went, yo, I'm going to look dumb. What is a YAP? And she went, oh, it's a young artist program. And I went, that makes so much more sense than a disease.
YAPs disease.
Oh my gosh. It kind of is though, if you think about it.
I was just about to say that. It's kind of a disease in our industry, if you think about it. But I didn't know what a YAP was.
It costs a lot of money to fix.
Now we're really getting into it.
Oh, I have a lot of feelings. I'm going to try and keep them mostly to myself unless we want to like deep dive into that. But that's going to be on the subscription side of things because look,
that's the buried side.
If someone really wants to hear what I have to think about YAPs, they're not nice thoughts. And if a casting director wants to hear, they can pay to join the subs to hear me bitch about it.
Yeah, I didn't know what a YAP was either until I feel like too late into the game. And I feel like when I was starting to apply for gigs, like paid, non-paid, all the gigs, I was looking at like Chautauqua. I was looking at things that I would never have gotten into right away. It's like,
yeah,
it's something that I think that schools, voice teachers, we need to focus more on, like, because we've been down this road. YAP is a term we throw around. We all, you and I know what this means. We know what a summer-long paid is, but not everybody does. And especially early in your career, how the hell would you know the difference unless somebody told you, oh, this one is this kind of tier, this one is up, see how this one you have to pay for it, this one you get paid. If nobody tells you this stuff, like, how the hell are you supposed to know? So yeah, I was also in the same boat. I didn't know what any of this was, nor did I know what was good for me right now. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely have, I have opinions about YAPs and I have opinions about pay to sings and stuff like that. But depending on where you are in your career, what you want to do, those might be options for some people and not for others. So it's really a conversation you should have with your teacher, your peers, and we need to talk about it more for sure.
Yeah, I was very lucky in grad school that we had a class called The Business of the Opera Business, BOOB for short, if you will.
Wait a minute. Okay. I was just excited that you even had that class now that it's the boob class.
Yeah, but
wait a minute.
The thing I don't agree with is the fact that it was for only the second year grad students. So all of the undergrads didn't have a version of it. And like first year grad students weren't allowed to take it due to prereqs. So I don't fully agree with that. But you know what? I kept all my notes. I have a whole binder on it. And that's how I made a lot of these notes for this series on YAPs. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit. So we threw around a couple of things. So there's a lot of different kinds of young artist programs. There are year-longs, summer programs, pay to sings, and in the notes it says pay to sings, ew. And I will get into that. And then there are also gig to gigs.
The notes are my favorite. It's like not every, when we're recording, obviously we don't say all of the things on the notes, but be like, where did this come from? My brain, pay to sing. It's just like, so good. The notes are the best. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
So there is this awesome breakdown from Opera America. Ellen, I'm going to have you click on it because I hyperlinked it for us in our notes. And I'm going to link it in the show notes today. But it's called Defining Your Career Level and Choosing a YAP.
Oh, this is a great resource.
I know, and it's from Opera America, so it's like up to date. And it also doesn't mean that I had to build it because this is a big thing. So I'm going to have us scroll to page 3 and we're going to start there. So we're going to start bottom up. So just breaking this thing down really fast is there's different sections that break down what you might be looking for at this certain point in your career. The bottom tier of this is university or conservatory students, which is upper class undergraduates or grad students. These are people who may have performed 1 or 2 operatic roles. They may have operatic chorus experience with maybe a local company or with their school. So there's a lot of things. I'm not going to read everything off just because I don't want to just highlight certain programs.
Yeah, then definitely, this is something that you should definitely go into the show notes and click on because there are a boatload of
it literally
programs.
Walks you through all of the things.
And what they are, too. Like, it's an outreach program.
Exactly.
It's a pay to sing, a training, an apprentice artist. Like, this is a lot of information.
I will say, so with all of these things, it's, how do I put these in words? So outreach is something that I loathe personally because, again, children. And it means early mornings. It means driving around doing the same show a bajillion times in a bunch of different school cafeterias mostly. And for me, not my jam. I will never apply to those because I will quit my job. And that's not something I want.
And for me, that was something I aspired to do when I moved to Arizona. All I wanted to do was be in the Arizona Opera Opportunity Chorus, which is an outreach, just because it, at least with what I was looking at, definitely look at the different companies, their tiers, and how many gigs they have in outreach. But it paid really well. It was an easy gig. It was quick. Quick money, and like you said, it's in the morning, so I could do something else in the afternoon or in the evening, either personal or job related. So for me, that's what I wanted to do, was outreach.
Yes. And then we get into pay to sings. That's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You're paying someone to do a job that you're trained for, which is why I don't agree with it.
You're basically paying for a role on your resume, is kind of how I think about it.
There are pros and cons to that. Again, if you want Alyssa's wine night deep dive into that rant, that is neither here nor now.
Oh, there is one thing on that, though. If you are looking into a pay to sing, they do have a lot of scholarship opportunities. And, we're both sopranos, so you can take that for how that is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do know a lot of people who have done pay to sings for roles that are a little bit older than them or something that they really want to work on, workshop, and they've gotten scholarships. And so they did it for free, but they didn't have to pay for it. So if you are thinking about a pay to sing, maybe you need to work on that role, or you need to add that role to your resume, or whatever that may be. Look into scholarships, because a lot of places have it. You can also look into getting sponsored by one of your patrons or something like that, and they can pay your way, or you can, do a free concert or something like that. So pay to sing, yes, we do have our experiences with them. We do have our opinions on them, but there are ways that you can do this and not have to pay that money. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, my big thing is I just don't think that we should have to pay to do our jobs.
I completely agree. It's unfortunate that is where we are in our industry, but unfortunately, there's just so many of us now that if you don't have pay to sings, sometimes, everything's always a sometimes, but sometimes if you don't have pay to sings on your resume, or if you're not being able to get to that next tier, a pay to sing is a good bridge, and you can finagle ways on not having to pay. You do lose out, you're not getting paid or something, but at least you don't have to pay thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so then getting into some of the confusion. So my least favorite part is that there's not any clear delineation between different levels of things.
That's true.
Sometimes people call things a young artist program. That's actually a training program. Training programs are actually pay to sings. A studio artist is the same as an apprentice artist in a different program. So you have to do a lot of research to see what level is where, which is another thing that this amazing Opera America doodad has. So then we're going to scroll up to the next level, which is emerging artist. This is defined by Opera America as someone who has finished at least graduate level of education, has performed at least 2 leading or secondary roles in school, and is auditioning regularly for YAPs, training programs, and tuition-based programs. So when you're looking at this, you're going to see all of the different things in this category that mean the same thing. That is what I don't like. Like, there's something in here called training, studio artist, young artist, outreach, training / young artist. Like, what is that?
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Yeah.
I bet you it's what they call their own programs. It's pretty much the same thing. But like Alyssa said, do your own research, ask around, ask on, social media, ask your teacher, ask your friends, people who've been in the program, ask them what their experience was like. Are they out in the public a lot at schools or, third-party events, or are they on the main stage performing roles? Is there a mix? You can really get a sense for what these things are by just talking to people.
Yeah. And then, so I'm on page 1 now, Ellen. So the top 2 categories, there is a lot in the opera community right now just about how we're calling these. Mm-hmm. So the top 2 is young professional and young artist. And what that is currently being said is age 30 cutoff. But the fact that we are being defined as young is a little bit demeaning, especially when, there's people I know specifically who is, I think they're 25, 26, and they're performing leading and secondary roles at A houses right now. And yes, they are young as a human, but calling someone a young professional, like, I've been performing for 21 years. It's a little demeaning. So that's another... These are the rants that I tried to not go on in my notes. It
is interesting because...
It's just, there's so many things to talk about within this.
And as we know, there is no clear path. There is a traditional route that singers tend to take, but that doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
But it also
works for the few and far between.
It also doesn't mean that you're going to be on that path, or like you just said, they're young, but they are performing at a very high level.
Yeah.
Or people who are not young, quote unquote, they're not under 30 in that, young artist track, but they're getting chorus gigs. They're making a full-time gig out of singing and didn't have to do these yaps and didn't do so. So it really comes down to what you think is good for you, where you are at, how you feel, what you feel like you need. Do you need more training, or do you need to perform full-blown roles? Do you have a lot of training under your belt? Then, definitely, if you have a lot of training under your belt and you don't feel like you need the training or even the cross-promoting
and the connections,
then skip that section. Maybe look for local gigs. Look for local opera companies, smaller opera companies, and start there. If you feel like you need the training, you have no connections in the opera world, maybe look at those summer programs, those pay to sings, stuff like that. Look into them. It doesn't mean you have to do them. It doesn't mean that they're right, but look into them. Go to one. Like I said, maybe you can get a scholarship if you like it and you're like, I like these types of things. Look for more of them. If not, and you're like, I just need the role, I just want to make money and perform, look locally.
So let's dive into how to choose the right company for you, what questions you should be asking so that you can really find what it is that is right for you right now. I am a very firm believer that careers are not straight lines.
Yes.
I know maybe 5 people that I can rattle off that had a career in a straight line, and I'm probably missing things, and their career was not in a straight line because they had other priorities in their life. Like they wanted to start a family. They decided to move and wanted to focus on that. They needed to focus on their health. Careers are not straight lines, and they're not meant to be. That's not how life works.
Yeah, life is not a straight line, and neither are your job. Even if it looks, like Alyssa said, even if it looks like a straight line, you're probably missing something. There is probably a lot of wavy parts in that line that are just not apparent to, the outside people.
And also remember, social media is a lie. What are some questions to start asking?
Facts.
So the first question I always ask is, what's the application fee? Is it fair? Is it just a payment for the pianist? This is something that I'm a firm believer in. I do not believe that artist programs should be funded by the application fees of artists that are literally paying for a job application. This is something I feel very strongly about. I do not pay, personally, I am at the point where I do not pay more than $15, $20 for an application, because there was one year I applied for everything that I possibly could have gotten hired for, spent over $1,000, and didn't get anything. There's a lot of sopranos especially, and I went back and I double checked all of my pre-screen videos. No one had watched any of them.
Yep. And you want to make sure you're looking too, is it an application fee, or is it a audition fee, or is it an application with a guaranteed audition fee? Because if you're paying an application fee of $75 and you're not even getting that audition, then that money is not going towards that pianist who's going to be playing for you because you didn't even get the audition. So definitely check into that, because sometimes that money goes to the pianist. You're paying for that service for somebody to perform with you. And, in my eyes, I'll pay a little bit for that, for sure. Thank you for
I'll pay for a pianist, but also, it's on the company to pay to see job applicants. But, that's neither here nor there. I have a lot of feelings about auditions.
No, I agree.
Which is why I'm currently not auditioning for operas, because they piss me off right now.
I agree. My point is just look in if it's an application fee or if it's an application plus audition fee, because if I'm getting in front of somebody, I'm definitely more willing to pay that, $20 than I am just to submit a paper application. Because I am an arts admin right now. Yes, it does take time to review applications, but those people are getting a salary or an hourly wage regardless if they're looking at your applications or not. And so make sure that it's worth it, and make sure that if it's an application or an audition fee.
The next thing to ask yourself is it an educational experience or a working experience? What are you looking for right now? It's more of a question of how are you going to benefit from this experience? Are you going to learn something new? Are you going to make new connections? Are you getting experience, getting your feet wet in a role that you're dying to perform or that you really want to be performing? What are you getting out of this experience?
Yeah, and it's really important to take this concept to your entire audition year. What goals do you have for your audition year? Is it to gain that experience? Is it half and half? Is it, I like this program because I know I can sing these heavy hitting roles where I can't sing them somewhere else, and at this other program or gig, I'm really just need the money. Definitely take a look at your entire audition season and see kind of what you want out of it, as well as gig to gig. So the next is, what shows are they performing? Can you gain knowledge from them?
Can you get hired to perform in them?
Right. Kind of in the same vein of what we were just talking about. Are you looking for a role that you can perform right now and that you can get paid for? Are you looking to perform a role, kind of test out something that's a little bit bigger than you, try to get something on your resume? Have you never performed a full opera before and you need to get into a program where you can perform at Zerlina or something where you're on stage all freaking time, see what they're performing, what you need for your own career, and what you can gain from these pay to sings or gigs.
And then something else, just adding on to that, is also making sure that you're double checking if you're getting cast to be on stage or if you're getting hired as a cover or an understudy. The next question to double check with yourself is a hard one, and it's more of a life question, is does the pay line up with where you are in your life? Is it what you need? If you are paying $4,000 to be gone for a summer, still have to pay a month of rent, and work 10 jobs so that you can afford to be there and take a month off of work, does that line up for you? Are you going to have to take out a bunch of credit card debt? Can you fundraise? But also remembering that fundraising takes time out of your day. And it's a lot of money questions of where you are in your life, and just knowing that it's okay to say no to something if you can't afford the pay cut. I've had to do it a lot recently, and it sucks. Like, I have been looking at a bunch of like extra work and small characters on TV shows recently that are filming in New York. And a lot of them are like, cool, you get $100 for the day. It's a 12-hour day. And I'm like, fuck that. That is less than minimum wage.
Yeah. Do the time. Figure out how much time you're going to be in rehearsals, how much time you're going to be there. Is it a 1 week gig? Is it a month-long gig? Is it a year-long gig? Cut that up into your time commitment. See how much you're getting paid. Can you afford it? And you know what? It's totally fine if you can't afford it. I have had some pay to sings where, as a soprano, I'm not really getting that scholarship. They're usually giving it to somebody like a tenor or something. And so I'm committing, 100% to how much I owe. And if you can't do it, it's okay. You can look elsewhere. The pay to sing is great sometimes, but you can also go join a chorus for a local small opera company. There are a lot of pop-ups that are happening in so many cities. Go sing in their cabaret show. Go take that aria that you really want to work on and get with some friends and see if you can put on a show, or even put on a full opera, just in your jeans and your t-shirts or whatever. There's lots of ways.
It's nicer than some of the costumes I've had.
Oh my gosh, for real. Girl, don't even go down that road.
I know. Dude, all of my undergrad costumes were from TJ Maxx or My Closet.
Oh my gosh.
I had to make my own costume for Chicago. I bedazzled a whole bra. Granted, it was really fun and I had a great time.
Oh my gosh, please find that picture.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the fact that as artists, we are not paid fairly when we are highly trained individuals. And again, this is Wine Time with Alyssa on the subscriptions, and we'll deep dive into it if you want. But it is something that we have to think about as artists. It's a reality. We're not paid fairly, and needing to remember that with that comes some negotiations on our end. Maybe you can get free housing out of it. Maybe you can get your transit paid for. Things like that. There's always options to barter. Just know that sometimes they look at you and say, even though they offered you the role, say, well, a bunch of other sopranos want to do it, so they'll pay full price. Why won't you?
Yeah,
and then you have to bite that bullet. So
it's not always
just know which hill to die on.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, we both did pay to sing, so that was something that we did. But that does not mean that you have to. That does not mean that you have to have those on your resume or those credentials to get full paying gigs, to get main stage roles. That is not a requirement. So please do not feel like that you have to because everybody else is your age or whatever. That is not a requirement. And then, but on the flip side, if you do want to go to them, just because we don't think that you should have to pay for your career does not mean
I just
they
have
are
a lot of feelings.
Yeah, but they are beneficial at some time. So definitely just take a close look at it. Don't just go with the flow on that one. Just take a close look. Is it worth it? Are you getting out of it what you need to get out of it? Maybe even more. Just, it's something just that you really need to pay attention to.
The last thing is, can you chat with anyone who has worked with them in the last 2 to 3 years, specifically the last 2 to 3 years, to make sure that you're talking to them about people that currently work there and currently oversee everything, so that you can chit chat with them and see what they think of the company as a whole. There's a lot of changeover happening in a lot of administrations at a lot of different companies. I know that I've worked with people when they were there the first year. I know that I've worked with people who were there and they founded the company 10 years prior. And I've had a lot of different experiences with a lot of different companies personally that are pros and cons. And, you know, I don't know how I got on this train of thought, but how you can find people who have worked with companies in the past. Sometimes they like erase their archives from their websites, which is really annoying, but you can go back on their social media on like Facebook and Instagram. You can go through LinkedIn if people are linking it there.
Their YouTube pages, or even just taking note of what your friends have done. Maybe just looking up some artists that you know, looking at their resumes and be like, oh, they did that a few years ago. And honestly, if you can find people...
I've DM'd people on Instagram before, just like out of the blue going, hey, I saw that you worked here. What'd you think?
So have I, and I have received those DMs too. And it's never weird. It's just do it. I know it feels weird, but being on the receiving end and somebody who has done this as well, just like a cold turkey DM or, you know, Facebook message, just do it. And if you can find anybody who's worked there in the last year, I highly, highly suggest trying to talk to them as well, because as an arts admin, so much has freaking changed since COVID. And I mean, we're still just kind of getting back into the swing of things. Things are done completely differently, not even just safety protocols, just the way things are done. So if you can chat with somebody who's been there in the last year, I highly suggest hitting them up first and then kind of going back a couple years, seeing what, you know, different people have to say about different programs and different times in their lives.
As a caveat to this, know that what you say about companies is never private. It is gossiping. If you don't have something nice to say, to a stranger, if you don't know them, if you had a bad time at a company, then just be careful how you say things.
Yes.
Because screenshots are a thing.
Yep.
I usually default to, cool, let's have a conversation on the phone, please.
Yep. Very small industry. Don't gossip.
Yes. If you had a seriously bad.
Yeah. If
you
had a bad experience, you can say that professionally. I mean, you know, we are all very, very close as singers, as musicians.
There's always like 2 degrees of separation max on people.
Exactly. And you don't want that to come back to you. You don't want people to think that you're bad-mouthing programs, that you're a bad colleague, or whatever they may, you know, think from your response. So definitely be careful and remember that this is your job and this is your profession.
Just be mindful of what you say. And then as a bonus, as a place for you to keep all of this research that we just went over in one place, we have made our brand new Audition Tracker. It's a digital download. You can get it in our Etsy shop right now. I think it's $5. Is that right?
Yep, it's $5. I highly suggest it. Alyssa made it.
It's a breakdown of mine,
it is
honestly.
Amazing. It'll make your life so much easier.
It's not as color-coded.
It's not as color-coded, but you can add your own beautiful colors and then send us snapshots so we can see your beautiful rainbow audition trackers. But it'll just make your life so much easier. It takes out all of the guessing games of what stuff you need to track. It sets you up for success.
And it has everything in just one place, too, which is something that I really like. And you can access it from anywhere.
Yeah, definitely check that out in our show notes.
Wherever you are, you can always do. Oh, well, we're just talking over each other at this point, but we're recording on different tracks. So now I can just like cut and paste each of us out.
Oh my God.
So I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, wait. That's kind of nice.
Yeah. That's why I also like this better.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
This is a really hard road to travel, especially when you're trying to level up your career. Give yourself some grace and know that your career is not meant to be a straight line.
It's a wiggly line.
Squiggly lines for all.
Squiggly line.
Next week, don't forget to tune in. We are talking all about planning your audition tour, wherever that may be.
Thank you so much for listening. If you're interested in growing your singing career but not sure where to start, sign up for our newsletter to gain access to all of our really awesome freebies.
Ellen and I want to make sure that we can keep getting new information out to the singing community, but to do that, we need your help. If you want to help keep Modern Singer going, we would love the support. Even $1 will help. You can donate to us on PayPal and through the Drop a Tip link on all of our platforms.
Are you looking for the resources we mentioned today? Everything is linked in the show notes below.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
God, we're so annoying.